It's Friday, the 3rd of June, 2022. Welcome to the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 big stories today to get through in 5 minutes. Let's jump into it. Story number 1, new Federal Energy Minister Chris Bowen yesterday called for his state and territory counterparts to meet next week with regulators to address the current energy crisis. It is a big one.
Sure is. The Australian energy markets are facing the perfect storm, he said. But Mr. Bowen stopped short of ruling in or out any specific action. He wants the Pollies to meet with the Australian energy market operator next week. Now, the market's at breaking point. On Wednesday, the National Electricity Market forecast what they call a low reserve for Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania. Basically, some participants will be unable to source enough gas to supply power stations. Producers in Queensland will now have to send down supply to help the southern states. Of course, prices have soared in all this. That's hurt households, hurts businesses, hurts energy retailers selling the stuff as well. 6 months ago it was all about reducing carbon emissions. It's become much more basic. It's actually about keeping the lights on and the heat on at the moment, particularly with the cold snap down the east coast. Yesterday, for example, the chief executive of Origin Energy, Frank Calabria, said that the industry needed to work together to get troubled coal-powered generators working again. New South Wales government approved the expansion of a coal mine in the Hunter Valley. Santos boss Kevin Gallagher said he wants to accelerate development of its controversial Narrabri coal seam gas project. All these things which no one was listening to 6 months ago, all of a sudden make just a little bit more sense.
Yeah, big challenge there. All right, on to story number 2, Sean. And Wesfarmers boss Rob Scott said customers are spending at Bunnings and at Kmart with little significant change in behaviour, even with inflation and rising interest rates.
While Mr. Scott agrees spending could slow, it just ain't happening yet, and particularly at Bunnings, it's doing really well. Consumer demand is still healthy. The top 10 company, which Wesfarmers is, also owns Target, Officeworks and a chemicals and fertiliser business, among others, but it realises it needs to expand. It's going to accelerate its Mount Holland lithium project. It wants to build its health division. It's accelerating its One Digital operations, which will help with data around its retail business. One of the last big conglomerates on the ASX, and it just wants to add more businesses.
Story number 3, Sean, bit of bad news for renters. Get ready for much higher rents after vacancy rates fell to their lowest level on record across the capital cities.
That's right. Availability has tumbled, with Melbourne leading the way, down more than 8% last month, according to online property group Domain. Across the combined capitals, rental stock fell by 5.4%. Sydney was down 3%. Brisbane and Perth are at 5%. ACT was down more than 7%. What's all this mean? Well, fewer places for rent will push up the price. So we're going to see higher rents in coming months.
All right, Sean, story number 4. This is a cracker. We've spoken before about the tax office really kind of focusing on inappropriate tax deductions. Now, Chartered Accountants Australia has added a few more to the list, and they're quite entertaining.
They certainly are. Now, apparently some of the more colourful tax deductions claimed, they're not necessarily allowed, are pet dogs, Disneyland trips, high heel shoes, cosmetic surgery, post-COVID family reunion flights, and my personal favourite, a football club membership nominated as stress relief. So there you go. There's also been a jump in private household expenses with everyone working from home, including food, rent and transport. The moral of this, be careful what you claim.
Very good advice. And finally, Sean, story number 5. Look, I reckon it's been a good 3 or 4 days since we last spoke about Elon Musk, so I'm very happy that we've got a chance to talk about him again today. He's given up on the hybrid work idea.
Yeah, I thought all tech guys wanted hybrid work and people working from home, not Elon, clearly. He wrote an email to Tesla staff. He titled it, "To Be Super Clear," and he said, and I quote, "Everyone at Tesla is required to spend a minimum of 40 hours in the office per week. Moreover, the office must be where your actual colleagues are located, not some remote pseudo-office. If you don't show up, we will assume you have resigned." Take that.
Yeah, some happy stuff there, I reckon. Sean, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 3rd of June, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, then you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.